Hi, I'm Nick. Welcome to Nick's Fix. Hari ini saya akan cuba uh, with a new segment. Saya call it as me-ology. Something about me, and it wouldn't be too constrictive lah ataupun constrained. There are a few topics that can be grouped dalam segmen ni ataupun playlist ni. But most at least what I'm trying to focus today adalah pasal my journey, perjalanan to find out about my background, about my bloodline ke ataupun I think lah, to summarize what I feel that led me to that journey and what I can gain from it adalah motivasi dengan izin Allah SWT kan. I feel that like many others, sometimes we question siapa kita, and there were times that we feel small walaupun at the end of the day keluarga ataupun bukan something yang perlu digahkan, but try forgetting all of it together, start anew, which is something that you should do. We are all doing it, tapi at one point tu, or many points in our life, kita tertanya where we come from, siapa datuk moyang kita, have they been doing something good, something great, something worthy. We want to matter, and we want where we come from to matter. And I think growing up, I don't think my parents jenis yang macam bercerita sangat, but I don't think that they don't care. It's just that, okay, what I'm concluding is that they don't really sit down. Itu satu benda macam kesedihan juga lah. They don't really sit down with us and tell, kalau because later when I grew up, I pernah lah sekejap jadi knowledge management executive kan, so I understand why people set up knowledge management department and everything, sebab knowledge, skill, wisdom yang diperolehi, yang ditimba, digali oleh staff-staff senior tu are very precious, and of course the seniors themselves rasa macam they should be compensated pula lah macam tu. Tapi bagi company, whether we can deem it as selfish atau tidak, dia orang rasa rugi lah, sebab everyone else yang datang kemudian have to start from zero. I think this one is a win or lose punya battle and confrontation. Benda ni memang dibuat, tapi for people yang terasa tersakiti, yang dia orang tak di-compensated betul-betul dengan jujur apa semua, they don't really feel that they have to give, so it's a win, and sometimes it's not really a win situation lah dalam knowledge management, but I think it's good because at the end of the day, kalau kita memberi, kita mengajar, kita jadi lebih baik, kita jadi lebih berilmu, that sort of thing. So knowledge management, I still advocate for it, tapi now looking back, I understand kenapa people feel reluctant. Aku susah-susah cari ilmu apa semua ni, nak bagi free je contohnya. So maybe ada perlu tight compensation, that sort of thing lah. Okay, I'm digressing sikit kepada knowledge management. So for me, I think my parents, because I live with my father, so I feel like later on ada lah dia cakap-cakap, tapi it's just almost like a one-liner macam tu. I don't think that dia don't bother, tapi my theory is that he grew up to think that he was part Chinese, of a mix Malay Chinese, tapi later on rupanya he's not Chinese, rupanya Uyghur, that sort of thing. I think he didn't tell because he doesn't know much, and I think he was trying to give me a new lease of life, macam tak perlu fikir where we come from. I think because because my father grew up in my grandmother was adopted ceritanya. So I think probably, although he shouldn't and he doesn't show that, but I empathize ataupun maybe mereka-reka cerita bahawa it was not easy to think that, and both of my grandparents are orang kata bukan orang ada-ada, orang miskin aja. So dad and campur pula, you know, jadi maknya anak angkat daripada Chinese apa semua. And I think a few times dia express marah bila orang kata dia Cina. I think one of it pasal dia drive kereta and then orang marah. Kalau dia drive kereta tak elok, memang patutlah kena. Tapi I don't know. I don't think he does that. Tapi I think dengan orang yang the other party tu marah and then and tuduh dia Cina apek or something apek macam tu, dia marah lah. You know, he can't deny it probably because mata dia sepet like I did, tapi there was like sense of macam marah, macam, you know, I think because he grew up Malay, I think that sort of thing, you know. So I don't think, I mean, because my era punya, you know, we've heard about stereotype American kata Chinese macam tak pandai bawa kereta. So that's American. I grew up to know about it later, but I didn't go through that. I mean, when I grew up, I mean, my parents tak pernah cerita pasal the terse or tense relation between antara kaum, that sort of thing. Tak ada, dia tak pernah cakap pasal how British diskriminasi orang Melayu, tak pernah cakap. Dia orang tak pernah cakap, my grandparents or anybody near me tak pernah cakap bahawa orang Cina menipu ke, orang Cina tak baik, tak ada. And I think because of that, I able to live macam biasa lah kot, as normal as can be. And for a, you know, parent yang, you know, dalam tenaga pengajar, bukan kaya, bukan apa, tapi we just blend in lah sebagai orang kata maybe middle class lower, but I end up going to sekolah rendah yang untuk orang kaya kebetulan, not ultra posh, that one will be sekolah persendirian lah kan, but then daripada kecil tu nampaklah parent datang dengan Porsche, Jeep, Volvo, Bugatti tak tahulah, Rolls Royce ke, but Merc, Porsche ni semua ni, Jaguar, you know, banyak lah. And I remember not just a few times, macam bila my father bawa kereta Mazda Bulu yang he painted from yellow to grey. It's a shoddy punya grey, murky grey. I think I duduk kat belakang, I duck my head under the window, under the seat supaya malu orang tengok. That's stupid kan? But looking back, I think the other friends, so tak adalah macam there were no overt discrimination ke klassis. I think tak ada. But there were tiny bit things lah, macam not all kids suka membaca, but they are yang suka membaca, and I suka membaca. But my father ni jenis, dia bagi duit at times, tapi I remember once lah, because of one thing ni, I jadi attachkan this memory to him, was that dulu kat Sebuah Perit ada MPH, I think, ataupun kedai buku lah. I think he went around it supaya kita tak lalu. I know there was there. So he went to great length lah untuk macam elakkan. It doesn't mean that dia tak bagi duit untuk beli buku. He did a few times, but not as much as I wanted it. And I guess buku pun daripada zaman dulu pun mahal. but I did buy, but I don't think that macam dia jenis macam pro sangat. I mean, because I tercompare lah a few years ago tu dengan parents, yang, modern Malays yang membeli baju, tak kesudah lah. So, I think at one point in my life tu, I kind of brand my father ni jenis tak beli buku sangat. Dia tak beli. I think that's enough true. Kalau pergi dengan dia tak akan beli. But I did ask, sebab kat sekolah ada pesta buku apa semua, I think he gave. He's not a total kata, bad father, no. But a few of my classmates tu, dia memang ada macam library lah buku. I baca, I suka Alfred Hitchcock semua dalam bahasa Melayu lah, Hardy Boys tapi dalam bahasa Melayu. I beli, betul ke tidak, I remember dulu tu RM90, so I macam beli, pinjam, suka sangat. And then I got to be introduced dengan Sweet Valley High. I know that it's a girls punya tu, tapi because it looks macam expensive, dia punya kertas tu kan kertas recycle macam tu kan, so I pinjam and then sukalah membaca, macam faham lah juga kan. Tapi so that's why, peliknya bila I turn 13, I cuba baca buku tebal lah, novel besar, tapi it's not really for adults, it's memang untuk budak kecil, Famous Five, Enid Blyton, tapi jenis tak faham. First page dia tu, dia half page kan. I remember hampir setiap perkataan tu I underline, kena buka dictionary. I don't know what happened from sekolah rendah to 13 years old. It was hard, it was hard. Maybe grade buku tu dah sampai tahap lagi tinggi, tapi I don't know. But it shows that, membaca sikit-sikit buku Enid Blyton ke apa semua tu, it doesn't mean that I was prepared, sebab kat rumah cakap Kelantan je ataupun bahasa Melayu aja, and budak-budak ni yang lain ni, parents dia perempuan-perempuan cakap Inggeris, kat rumah apa semua dia orang. I think I remembered being teased. Budak perempuan ni dia, this, you sometimes you meet, tak kira lah Melayu ke Cina ke apa semua, tapi this happens to be a Chinese girl, dia betulkan it's supposed to be past tense, something like that. It was embarrassing, but then macam she did it, maybe out of care ataupun out of like annoyance lah, budak-budak sama-sama, how could you buat satu kesalahan besar, salah grammar macam tu kan. So I ingat this, ingatlah diperbetulkan. I earn UPSRA apa semua, tapi when it comes to 13 years old tu macam apalah sangat I tahu, macam tu lah. First page tu, yang satu page tu, kalau first page tu dia half aja words kan, tak faham. So that was some macam wake up call lah. Tapi going back to masa sekolah rendah tu, sebab minat membaca tu, I sukalah pergi library, suka pinjam. And one of the most peculiar, benda yang sangat pelik berlaku to me that I can recall up to now adalah, pernah tak you I remember it's dia shelf tu dia macam atas sikit daripada kepala. Budak kan, I memang pendek lah, so I think dia atas, dia taklah tinggi sangat sampai perlu menjengkel kaki, but dia macam eye level tapi atas sikit. So I was trying to keluarkan buku tu daripada row, and I feel that rasa zap macam naik bulu Roma tengkuk bila baca the title, judul buku tu. And if I'm not mistaken, I think it's Puteri Saadong. Pelik lah. I never really told this to anybody, and Good for me, I just held it in because I couldn't understand it. I couldn't process it. Dia memang kalau orang Kelantan kata naik ra macam tu, ra. This sort of thing bila macam ada entity ke, orang kata hantu apa ni. For the longest time, I ingat hantu ni hantu lah. Tapi later on, much decades later, bila I stumble upon Indonesian broadcast station Trend 7 punya siri Dua Dunia tu, it became a habit lah. Pergi cyber cafe tengok. Rupanya kerja-kerja jin lah, hantu-hantu ni. Tak ada orang mati dia takkan jadi, something. Dia orang mati ni dia akan terus, roh dia terus ke cross over ke alam barzah and everything, lock. Tapi yang buat onar ke baik ke buruk, sometimes dia kata menyerupai datuk nenek lah, bagi pesan apa semua. You can take a bit of with a grain of salt lah, sebab jin-jin ni menipu pun ada juga, yang baik pun ada juga. But there are jins lah, the others, the entities, sama ada berniat baik ke tidak tu you judge for yourself dan minta perlindungan daripada Allah SWT lah. So that's that lah. Dia rasa macam tu lah. Some people feel benda tu kalau macam there are macam beings yang naik bulu Roma. For me, I felt that, the first time tu bila baca that title. So, I guess that point in time kind of, that was the kick off lah. Unwittingly, I rasa that was one other thing that I remember pasal my childhood ni, that I suka dengar cerita-cerita pasal alam gaib, cerita-cerita dari sana and everything. I suka, bukannya macam nak kata obsessed tu, tidak, tapi it's like macam juga pasal buku tu, I don't obsess over it. I just glide over it and tinggalkan. There's nothing much to do, and alhamdulillah, I was intelligent enough for my age tu, macam smart enough lah, macam tak beritahu orang ke apa semua tu, just macam tu lah. And what I'm saying is that whenever macam my parents ke ataupun my stepmother ke apa cakap pasal hantu ke jin ke apa semua, I remember I wanted to join, tapi whenever I join, dia orang senyap ataupun dia tukar topik. That hurts. I remember, my father cakap dengan uncle and his friend, I think dia suruh I pergi tidur. I remember I was trying to listen in, eavesdropping atas tangga. He somehow knew. Dia sergah, tidur. I was like, what the heck? I just really wanted to listen in, I guess my father pun and friends tu suka lah bergosip-gosip pasal benda ni. Kadang-kadang dia orang bercerita pasal tu ni, maybe legend ke, mitos ke, hantu ke. But I was not macam invited guest. No, a royally invited guest macam tu lah. Never. So, it's understandable that tak sesuai untuk budak-budak kot. But I still, feel that adults or parents should tell it, tell it as it is. Dengan maybe censor sikit-sikit, but tell the truth pasal benda ni apa semua, supaya kita ready. Itu pun ilmu juga, and that, so that kita tak terkejut ke ataupun nanti grow up jadi macam tak percaya ke atau apa semua. I think pelik lah kalau we grow up dengan orang-orang yang tak percaya benda ni apa semua. Definition of hantu apa semua ni memang berbeza lah, because now for the longest of decades of time I know that semua jin, tapi there was a time that I pun tak tahu hantu ni hantu, hantu orang mati ke, hantu orang jahat ke, buat hantu, but it's all jins. But that gap tu kan, I felt there was a gap sebab tak tahu menatang apa. I'm sorry, tak semua hantu ni jahat macam tu lah, sebab keadaan rupa dia macam tu. So baik-baik ya mengutuk sesama makhluk Allah SWT ni. So ada yang jahat, ada yang baik, ada yang nakal, that sort of thing. So I think that, yeah, I think my father especially tu, I think my family, dia tak cerita. So I think later on, even when I was with my grandmother, when I was how you call it, memijak belakang dia, I think we were she was positioned lying down on her chest, apa ni, I was on her back, memijak dia. It doesn't sound right kan, tapi macam mengurut dia dengan tapak-tapak kaki, and I smell something nice or something like that. Itu je lah. And there was once when she said that rumah lama ke macam tu, because rumah tu ditukar tapak. Rumah lama tu dia macam belakang tu orang panggil Bukit Anjing. So inadvertently ataupun coincidentally, my grandmother cakap masa dia tidur tu macam anjing ke macam menyaut macam sebelah dia je macam tu. So I don't know, macam later on dia cakap dia join geng-geng baca Yasin, ada yang tak boleh mati sebab bawa ada peliharaan something like that. But this is later lah, because I end up start living with her when I was 13 years old. So that's about it. This been going for a bit longer than I planned, which I don't plan much, but I plan on starting, because for the longest of time I deliberated, boleh ke cerita ni, what's the use, untuk konten semata-mata macam tu kan. But my goal was that when I was going through all of this, I don't really have orang that I can lean to. Tapi that's a blessing lah, because you should never tangkap muat ambil orang sebagai rujukan apa semua. It's your journey, and kadang-kadang ramai orang menipu apa semua. Kadang-kadang benda-benda pasal jin ke apa semua ni, nauzubillah, jauhkan, and yalah, banyak orang menipu and apa semua. So you just believe in Allah SWT. But if there is that, that calling for me to say that siapa yang go through with me, go through the same experience as me and rasa macam alone, and rasa macam you wish you knew this. I bukan orang yang macam cerita-cerita filem macam go through macam nak kata psychic dia jauh sekali lah, tapi macam all the nightmare lah pasal benda-benda ni kan kita tak ada lah macam tu. We are nobodies. Tapi I just wanted, bukan reach out pun, I just feel that it's okay, it's whatever the family ataupun surrounding cakap pun, it's okay. And I think that you just be who you are lah. I think for me, rather than say macam benda ni ada special thing ke gift, I think Allah SWT plan it macam supaya I know my roots, my bloodline. And I think that's why what I stated dekat mula-mula this segment pun kan, bahawa at the end of the day rupanya it connects. Rupanya if I tell you that, benda yang 12 tahun it wasn't when I was standard 6, tapi primary school lah, some sort. Lupa lah darjah 5 ke 4 ke 3, darjah 3 ke 6 kan. Tapi that was when I rasa macam kena zap bila baca buku Puteri Saadong. And decades later, who would have thought that The other name, Perseus, bukan Perseus Jackson, tapi Perseus the Great Hero tu ada makna to me. A boy kononnya urban tapi tak berapa urban, are linked ataupun ada kaitan. Who would have thought? I would never have thought that primary school boy, 8, 9, 10, 11 tahun would never have thought, because as much as I've been trying to stress bahawa my parents jenis tak cerita. Maybe because they don't know, they don't feel pride, ataupun they feel they don't really know about it themselves, sebab tak ada internet, nobody else share yang mereka juga mencari, dan mereka juga ada this bit of information and they don't know how to reach out. I think the internet democratize this information dengan sikit. At least that's what I've experienced, what I've gone through. Although my parents tak beritahu, because of the generosity of the people yang ada knowledge ataupun belajar, they share, they write it on the blogs, kan. It helps me connect the dots. Cerita pasal Sriwijaya apa semua, kan. Who knew that rupanya berkaitan, at least in my case, macam I was reading it, rasa macam sedap je hati membaca, it rolls nicely on the tongue. So, okay, this is the, my first attempt lah untuk cakap pasal my so-called journey yang dah habis, whatever petunjuk yang Allah bagi, apa semua, nothing or extraordinary. I've heard that many people go through this, this journey mencari diri apa semua, but because I wasn't really connected, there wasn't really such a fraternity, but I'm completely lying kalau tak ada, because when I was 13, my mother brought me to a sort of gathering. I was like, apa ni? Rupanya is the first of its sorts lah. So that's one thing. So I hope you maafkan me for being macam, unscripted. Macam my thoughts were everywhere, here and there. I don't know if I should revisit this so that it will become clearer. Tapi in a gist, this is what I wanted to say lah on this first segment or part of, telling about this initial part of the journey. Thank you for listening.